Hello beautiful people, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you guys are all here. I've missed you guys so much. I feel like it's been a minute since I've been on YouTube. A lot of you guys know why. I just made a video about this. A lot of you guys know that I recently recovered from COVID. So I'm back with you guys, and I hope in 2022 I can create more content for you guys. I have a lot of things planned and in the works for this channel, and thank you guys so much for 10,000 subscribers. You guys mean the absolute world to me. So for today's video, I thought that I would open up with you guys and share with you guys a bit about my journey, my health story, kind of how I stumbled across the raw vegan lifestyle, how long I've been a raw vegan, because I tend to get that question a lot from you guys. And yeah, I just thought I'd open up and share with you guys a bit of that information in today's video. Alright guys, so to start off, I will go back to when I was a kid. Seems like so long ago these days. I feel so old. So yeah, going back to when I was a kid, I had a very unhealthy lifestyle. My diet primarily consisted of, oh my gosh, sodium, fat, artificial sugars, things like that. Like I used to be obsessed with the bottled juices that you'd find at the store. I loved soda, I loved candy, chips, donuts. Oh my gosh, you guys, I had a donut obsession. Like it was a problem. It was really bad. Like bad. I would have donuts with pretty much every meal. Like it was that bad. Also growing up as a kid, my mom would take my sister and I out to eat quite often. We would go to get hibachi or sushi or pizza or whatever. And I think that's honestly what led to the copious amount of health problems that I started to experience in my teenage years, up until my early 20s. I also come from a Jamaican family. I have a Caribbean background. I was born in America, but a lot of you guys don't know this. Both of my parents were born in Jamaica, so I am Jamaican. Jamaican American. And so growing up, my mom would cook a lot for us, and she would make us a lot of Jamaican cuisine. So, I had a lot of like beef patties, curry goat, curry chicken, oxtail, jerk chicken, things like that. So yeah, I would just eat those foods all the time. For a while, I just felt like it was normal to eat like that. Obviously, I was completely wrong, but I wasn't knowledgeable about health, wellness, and nutrition as much as I am today. So, I didn't know any better. Obviously, I know now that those foods are just loaded in hormones and sodium and cholesterol and so many other detrimental things to your overall health. So I continued this unhealthy pattern of eating all sorts of unhealthy foods up until my teenage years. I actually got a crazy awakening when I was a teenager during a routine checkup at the doctor's. I remember that day like it was yesterday. So at my routine checkup, I got some blood work done. I obviously got my vitals checked, and essentially I found out that my health wasn't as good as I thought it was. Whose car is that loud? Like seriously. So the doctor took my blood pressure and she told me that it was extremely high. Like my numbers were outrageous. I think it was like 145 over 110. So my diastolic and my systolic numbers were off the charts. And then later on, like a couple days later, my blood work came back and I found out that I had hyperglycemia, which is pre-diabetes. So my glucose levels were outrageous as well. I also had abnormal sodium levels and my potassium levels were off as well. My hormones were completely imbalanced. And yeah, it just was not good. The doctor that I had, she was incredibly sweet, and unlike a lot of doctors, she took a very holistic approach in trying to figure out, why I was suffering from so many health issues. And so I remember distinctly, she had asked my mom, what does my diet look like? What exactly am I putting into my body that could potentially cause high blood pressure and hyperglycemia and things like that. My mom kind of tapped into it. She was telling her, oh, she eats a lot of canned food, she eats a lot of boxed food, she eats a lot of fast food. And so the doctor was like, aha, I see what's going on here. And so basically she just told me, instead of just like trying to throw medication at me and prescribe me all sorts of pills to cure my high blood pressure, she basically just told me, you know what, Ashley, I think you need to reevaluate your diet and try to focus on eating more whole plant-based foods, a lot more fruits and vegetables. And I was like looking at her like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, I'm not eating like that. That sounds very bland and boring and just tasteless. But at the same time, I also really did want to improve my health. So I was just like, you know, I'll just try it, at least temporarily. And if I get bored, I'll stop. So I did that for a little bit, and I started to eat more fruits and vegetables, and I did notice a significant difference in how I felt and my energy levels and things like that. But that changed as soon as I got to college. You know, just with me studying constantly and me just being so busy with classes and things like that, I just wanted fast food. Like, I was so busy, I wanted something quick, I wanted something convenient. So I resorted back to eating a lot of junk food and things like that. And while I was living in the dorms, I also had a meal plan. So I could literally go to the cafeteria and eat 24/7 whenever I wanted. And the foods at the cafeteria obviously were not the healthiest. They had a lot of pizza, cupcakes, brownies, seafood, even steak some days. And when I tell you, I literally put on like 20 to 30 pounds that first year I was in college. Like, it was bad. Like, I could hardly even recognize myself. That pattern of unhealthy eating continued on throughout my college years up until I was about 23 years old. And it wasn't until then where I actually started to take the idea of health and wellness and things like that seriously. And I remember a pivotal moment in my life that kind of changed the direction for me in terms of wanting to get healthy and better myself, both physically, mentally, spiritually. My sister actually showed me a documentary on Netflix called What the Health. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it. And I watched it and I freaked out. I was shocked. I was disgusted. I was completely amazed with what I saw and what I heard. And basically after I watched that documentary, I was just like, I need to make a change when it comes to my health, because I am tired of feeling sick all the time. I am tired of suffering from all of these physical ailments. I just need to do better. And just to briefly touch base in terms of the physical ailments that I was experiencing, throughout college, while I was eating all that cafeteria food, that junk food, fast food, I noticed that I felt very fatigued and extremely tired most days. There were days that I would just stay in bed all day and skip classes just because I was so extremely tired and just didn't have the energy to attend class. As far as gastrointestinal issues and things like that, I was very bloated. I was very constipated. I was hardly going to the bathroom at all. I was also suffering from a lot of acne. My hair was thinning, it was falling out, things like that. So I was in really bad shape. So essentially that documentary was the start of it all. It was the turning point in my health journey. I started to do research and educate myself more on the benefits of consuming a whole foods plant-based diet. In May of 2017, I started to cut out just meat. So essentially I was just a vegetarian for a couple of months, and I noticed a difference in my health in terms of my gastrointestinal issues. My bloating dissipated, my constipation was diminishing as well. I started taking more trips to the restroom, and I was like, yeah, this is good. And then around March of 2018, I decided to go vegan. That transition between being a vegetarian and being vegan wasn't at all difficult for me. I kind of just made the switch overnight, and I noticed an extreme difference in my health as soon as I went vegan. All of the other symptoms that I was experiencing, like the hormonal acne, the thinning hair, all of that started to go away. My hair was getting longer, it was getting thicker, shinier. I was getting better sleep at night. My brain fog that I was experiencing was also going away. So yeah, going vegan did absolute wonders for my health. I experienced so many amazing health benefits, but I still felt very tired and very lethargic and very kind of just heavy and weighed down on a cooked vegan lifestyle. And that's just because I was not the healthiest vegan, if I'm being honest. I would sometimes splurge, so I would have, you know, the Beyond Meat burgers, and I would eat a lot of French fries and potatoes, like baked potatoes, rice and beans and things like that. Not really the healthiest. I just noticed that I felt very tired after meals, and I didn't feel 100% my best that I know I could potentially feel. So I decided to take it a step further, and in 2020, I decided to become a raw vegan. I actually wanted to become a raw vegan for a very, very, very long time. I just really couldn't build up the courage to do it. I was kind of afraid to try it, if I'm being honest. But I had a lot of inspiration and motivation from one of my favorite YouTubers. She's such an inspiration of mine and has forever changed my life. Fully Raw Christina. I would watch her videos all day, every day, get new recipes, get new creative ideas and things like that. So she is one of the main reasons why I decided to become a raw vegan. So I made the switch of being a cooked vegan to a raw vegan overnight. And it wasn't a difficult transition for me just because I was already used to eating a lot of whole plant-based foods, and I didn't know how to cook. My mom would teach me, she would like try to teach me how to cook growing up, but I didn't have the desire to learn. I didn't care. So now I'm a raw vegan, so it doesn't really matter anyways. Anyways, back to what I was saying. The first few months of going raw was absolutely amazing for me. I just felt the best that I had ever felt in my entire life. I think the only downside for me was the amount of prep work involved. Like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot, and like trying to find time to do all of the, you know, meal preparations for work. And I actually started to get into juicing, so trying to find time to juice, you know, meal prep and things like that, it was a bit of a challenge for me initially, but I started to get more into a routine, and eventually I got over that, and it was pretty much smooth sailing from there. It wasn't until August of 2020 where I temporarily stopped my raw vegan journey, and it was because I was going through something very, very dark and very deep and very personal to me that I will share with you guys momentarily. But August of 2020 was a really dark time in my life. So during that time, I lost someone extremely close to me, one of the greatest loves of my life, to mental health issues. And it really, really, really put me in a really dark place. I felt very empty. I felt very lost. And even though I had a very healthy lifestyle and arguably eating the healthiest diet in the entire world, I still felt very empty. And so I went back to eating cooked foods. I wanted to kind of fill that void that I was feeling inside of me. And I thought eating the foods that made me feel comfortable and warm and satisfied would help with that. And I was very, very, very wrong. Honestly, going back to eating cooked food was probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made, just because I went back to feeling just tired and lethargic and bloated and constipated all over again. And once I realized that cooked food wasn't going to help fill that void, I even thought about turning to drugs and alcohol. And I was never a smoker or a drinker growing up. I still haven't had a single drink in my entire life. I haven't smoked in my entire life, and I will probably never do those things for the rest of my life. But if there was a time in my life where I wanted to do those things and had the desire to want to do those things, it was that moment in my life where I lost one of the greatest souls that I've ever met. I distinctly remember one night where I was so emotional and I was having a lot of panic attacks that night, and I went to the kitchen and I grabbed a bottle of wine from the fridge, and I held the drink in my hand, and I remember hearing a voice inside of me saying, "You've made so much progress when it comes to your health journey. You do not want to take steps back now. You're doing so good. Put the drink down." And so I remember having the wine bottle in my hand and me pouring it down the drain. During that time, I started to isolate myself, so I wasn't talking to a lot of friends. I wasn't talking to my sister nor my mom about what was going on with me, and so I kind of kept them at a distance. I realized that I needed my family and I needed my friends to help me get through such a difficult point in my life, so I started to reconnect with them again, and I started also reconnecting with nature, getting outside more, moving my body, getting active, and then I really started to find myself again and get back on my healing journey. So fast forward to September of 2020, I decided to go on my raw vegan journey again. And this time I had absolutely zero intentions of giving it up. My mental and physical health just meant so much to me at that point in my life, where I was dead serious on the lifestyle. I am now 1 year and 4 months into being a fully raw vegan, and I don't plan on stopping at all for the rest of my life. This lifestyle has honestly changed my life in so many different ways. I'm so incredibly grateful and thankful that I came across this lifestyle and decided to make the change for my health. Becoming a raw vegan has changed my overall perspective when it comes to health and wellness. It's led me to this beautiful journey of self-discovery and self-love, and I'm just so incredibly happy. So to answer the question directly in terms of why I decided to go raw vegan, obviously you know now I did it primarily for health reasons, but also because I absolutely love animals and I don't ever want to consume them ever again. And I'm also not only doing it for the betterment of myself and my overall health and well-being, but for the betterment of the environment and our planet. So yeah, that's my raw vegan journey up until this point. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm 100% healed. There's still some days that I suffer from some like detox effects and things like that, but I'm still healing and it's gonna take time. But I'm excited and super grateful that I get to share with you guys my journey on this platform. All right, guys, that wraps up today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Also, feel free to leave me a comment down below letting me know your individual health story. If you have an interest in becoming a vegan or a raw vegan, all of that good stuff, I'd love to read and respond to your comments. I hope you guys all have an amazing and blessed day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye. I'm in love with the coconut. That's delicious.